what do I buy right now? Who do I invest in at this moment? What's the next step in my business for the obstacle or bottleneck I have today, instead of like the one that I foresee coming, or you know what I'm saying? Like the the ability to focus is
Mhm.
going to become so much more valuable and needed, I think, in business.
What's up, and welcome back to the Scale Your Sales podcast. I am your host and your soon to be podcast BFF, Jillian Murphy. If you are absolutely exhausted of hearing the same podcast that only leaves you feeling motivated and just a bunch of fluff, well, you have absolutely landed on the right podcast today. In this episode, we are going to talk about the most important skill you need to generate your business, and that is sales. We are going to dive into topics such as messaging, marketing, how to build lead generation organically, and we are going to talk about how to create consistent cash months inside of your business. And we are also going to talk about how to build a company that isn't just about making money, but is also bringing in actual wealth, while getting back to what I know is your most important thing, time freedom. Now, I am here for real talk, real advice, straightforward tip, and no BS. You can always walk away and implement everything that we talk about in our show and move it into your business immediately. But I have to tell you, I am not your typical business mentor. We are going to talk about things that nobody else is probably talking about on the internet. We are going to talk about what it takes to build a real company, and not just about how to manifest your business or how you can make $1 million tomorrow. But if that's what you're looking for, this podcast is absolutely not for you. We are going to talk about the real skills to build a real business. Now, I have spent over 25 years in the corporate sales space, generating over $100 million in sales through multiple industries in the online and the brick and mortar space. I have been able to help over 500 entrepreneurs not only grow their sales, but scale their businesses. Several times per week, I'm going to bring you solo episodes, guest episodes, and even hot seat coaching so that you are able to scale your sales. Now, grab a pen and paper, your beverage of choice, and let's freaking go.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. It is a beautiful Friday morning here, and I am so excited because I have my friend Ashley on. And before we hit record, we were talking about seeing each other on the interwebs. I see her content, she sees my content, and it's like, why don't we just grab a microphone and have like a really great conversation? And I want this to also be an invitation to all of you that when you guys see someone whose content that you like, or maybe someone that you have like a mutual conversation with, like slide into their DMs and literally begin a conversation, because that's exactly how this began today. And now Ashley is here on my show. So Ashley, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. Tell my audience who you are and what you do.
Thank you so much, Jillian. It is so nice to be here. Hello, everybody. My name is Ashley Brasseaux. I am a fractional CMO and launch strategist. So I'm a fractional chief marketing officer. I help seven-figure brands to create marketing strategies connected to their ROI. So we all hate wasting our time on marketing that doesn't perform, and I'm here to make sure that doesn't happen to you. So thanks for having me, Jillian.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to dive right into this conversation because when I hear chief marketing officer, well, first of all, I love that you actually said what it is, because I think so many times people are like, oh, I'm an OBM, or I'm a CMO, or I'm a CFO. And like a lot of people actually don't know what that is. But I think that there is a really big distinction between what you do in marketing and actually a distinction between what I do in sales. And I think people don't really understand the difference. So let's talk about how marketing and sales actually work hand in hand together.
Yeah, no, I love that because obviously they're connected, but I do think that that can be a common pitfall, is thinking that they're the same thing. But I like to think of marketing as more of like the leads, right? And sales is like the closing the deal. So if you don't have enough conversations with people, you're not having enough conversations with people, you need to focus on your marketing, right? If you're having conversations and they aren't converting, like you got to talk about sales, right? So in an ideal world, they would connect, because the better your marketing is, the more heavy lifting it does on the sales. And then you're getting on calls with people who are like, yeah, I already know like what you do. And I already want to just tell me how much it is so I can pay you, versus what do you do? I don't know, So I think it's important that you align your marketing strategies with your sales goals so that you can make the sales process frictionless for you and for the potential buyer.
Yeah, that's such a great conversation. And right now, I mean, you probably don't know this because you're like new in my world, but we're doing 300 webinars. So I'm great on the webinar and I can close on the webinar, but there is a whole process that needs to happen where we have to bring people to the webinar, right? And that's
Yes.
the CMO's job. That's the marketer's job. And I think sometimes people don't realize that that's like a very different space. Like that's the heavy lifting. And it's like if you're really good at the marketing, but again, you're not good at the close, or you're like me and you're really good at the close, like you're a ninja there, but you don't have people in the seats. It doesn't matter how good of closer you are, you got to bring people to the actual marketing of the product that you're selling.
No, for sure. It's kind of the visibility, right? Like to your point, you're doing 300 webinars. First of all, congratulations. That's a
Thank
huge
you.
feat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, there was always a caveat, 300 webinars or until we hit $1 million. So whichever
Okay.
one comes first.
I love that. Okay, I'm gonna have to follow up with you and see how this is going a little bit down the road. But yeah, definitely. And the way that we market, I would say that sales strategies are pretty timeless, Jillian. So what you teach is great because it's likely that when somebody gains a sales skill from you, they can take that and use that forever. Those things don't really change. In general, conversations lead to conversions. So if you need more sales and conversions, you've got to have more conversations. If you are running out of people to talk to and have conversations with, you've got to go and do more marketing. And marketing is the tricky thing because that's the thing that does change. That's the thing that we're constantly having to learn a new thing, platforms, AI, technology, the way that we communicate, because obviously behavior changes as we're introduced to new platforms and new pieces of tech. The way that we communicate changes as well. So marketing is the ever evolving, tool that we've all got to keep up with as things kind of pivot and move forward.
Yeah, I love that you actually talked about AI because sometimes and you guys use this again as an invitation, like you have people on your podcast, use them to like literally pick their brain sometimes. So I'm actually going to ask you because I am actually not an AI person. What is your like, where do you kind of stand the temperature of AI right now?
Yeah, that's such a good question. So I would put this into an analogy where let's think about AI as like a tool like Photoshop. Okay.
Mm.
So for photographers, when Photoshop came out, there was a bit of fear like, oh my gosh, Photoshop is going to take over and there's not going to be any photographer jobs anymore.
Yeah.
And what actually ended up happening was Photoshop just made photography that much better for those that decided to use it, right? So I see AI not as a thing that's coming in and taking your job. It's coming in and it's going to take over the jobs if you don't adapt and use it. But for those who use it, like you're just going to be in more demand because your product is going to be so much better. Like you're able to streamline things, you can move more efficiently. You're going to be able to improve copy, improve images, whatever it is that you're using AI for. But if you don't use it, you're going to be beat out by those who do.
It's such a great conversation. And even before you and I actually hit record on the mic, you and I were even talking about transitioning right now in the selling space, right? I mean, it's no secret, like times are changing. We're in a little bit of an economy shift, right? Who knows if we're moving into a recession? We have tariffs, right? We have all these things that are happening. And the sales process is different. Whether you think it's slower, whether you think it's faster, whatever it is, let's just put a label on it that it is different, right? What are you seeing out there? Because you are like the launch guru and someone who does marketing. Like, what are some trends that you're seeing right now?
Yeah, I would say for sure. People talk about it, we're in a recession and they're like buying is slow. And it's like, listen, we're not in a recession people are still doing deals, right?
Yeah.
If they're not
I
doing
mean, I
deals
still
with
sell every
you,
week. Yeah.
that's the issue. Yeah, right. So it's the term being used right now is a trust recession. And essentially what that means is that the buyer's persona is now more sophisticated. Like this isn't the wild, wild west of like 2020 or 2018 anymore, where this is the first time somebody has ever bought an online coaching program, right? People now have bought coaching, they have bought digital products, and they've been burned in the past. And now they're sitting here like, now they have questions, now they have expectations. Now they're like, no, I need one-on-one, right? And so we have to meet them where they are and not offend the intelligence of our audience. And what I mean by that is you think about, you mentioned, Jillian, you're doing these webinars. There's a lot of people doing evergreen webinars and they will still act as if their evergreen webinars are live, right? They're like, pick your time so you can show up live. And there's like chat and people are sitting here like, there's the recording button where they can skip ahead. They're like, clearly this is not a live webinar, but the host is acting as if it's live and we all know it's not. You're like offending your audience by basically you're like telling them, hey, I think you're dumber than you think I am. And people can smell that BS from like a mile away. They're like, this is so clearly this isn't live. And that is such a small subconscious shift, but automatically that's like a point deduction from you in your trust bank, like your bank of trust. It's like you're pretending that this is something that it's not. Red flag. I don't know if I trust you. Right.
Yeah.
So it's not even necessarily like, oh, I have to know this person super well, but it's also in the way that you conduct your marketing. Is it genuine and authentic? And authentic being like, is it real as you say that it is? And if you're telling them your evergreen webinar is live and it's not, that's not going to go over very well in the long term for you in building that trust with your audience.
Yeah. I love this conversation so much because as I'm doing webinars, I have literally been studying everyone's webinars, right? I've been studying Jenna's, Amy's, Russell's, like literally everyone's. And I think the thing that makes me cringe more than anything is these evergreen webinars when people are acting as if it's live. And it's like, oh, put your name in the chat box. It's like, oh, Jillian, I see you're from Detroit. It's like, you are literally on a yacht right now. You are not watching this webinar. You are not doing this live. And there is this ick about it that's like, why don't you just start the webinar out and being like, hey guys, this is a pre-recorded webinar. I'm going to give you everything for the next hour. And I'm also here to teach you that you can also put your business on autopilot because I'm not here live right now, but I'm serving the millions of you guys that are watching this from around the globe right now. It's like, why are we just not being honest with people?
Yeah, no, and I think that is the shift, Jillian. I think especially with AI, right? The things that you can't duplicate, that AI can't replace, are the things that are going to become more valuable and more craved in the space. So authenticity and transparency, like you're talking about, like great, use AI, but tell people that you're using AI. Like if you're like, I'm not hiring a photographer anymore, like I'm going to have photo shoots with AI, great, but let people know that your photographs are not real, right? Like tell them. And then it's like, okay, yeah, cool. I get it. Right. And to your point, it's like, use that to your advantage. Like if you've got a webinar in Evergreen, tell people, hey, the beauty of running an online business is I'm not here live right now. Actually, I'm on a yacht right now in Greece. So I'm going to teach you how you can create the system for yourself. So next year you can come join me at my retreat and we can be on a yacht sipping champagne together, right?
Yeah,
like
totally.
just be open up front because people will ultimately respect you so much more than trying to pretend you're doing something that you're not. It's like, that's like bro marketing tactics. I would like, and it's over. People are done being sold to on false scarcity, false urgency. It's like people are wondering why deadline timers aren't working. It's like, because you're saying that cart closes in 3 days, but I know that you're going to be offering this again next week. So like, I don't believe you. And that is already, you're like crumbling the foundation of that client relationship, like before it even begins. And so you've got to get smarter. The marketing bar to entry has been raised, right? So if you're new to marketing, it's going to be a lot harder to get started. It's going to require some expertise, but that's where, you know, learning from other people or bringing in an expert to support you can be really valuable because they're going to keep you from making some of these basic mistakes.
Yeah. Do you follow Matthew Hussey?
Oh, yeah, I know Matthew Hussey.
Okay, obsessed with Matthew Hussey, right? Like his book, Love Life, literally changed my entire life. But he has an AI, like it's called Ask Matthew Hussey. And when this came out, I loved his like authenticity around it. He was like, guys, I am creating a Matthew Hussey AI. Like you are going to phone in to matthewhussey.ai. You are going to ask it questions. It has been programmed to sound just like me. So people like me that literally type in matthewhussey.ai, we know that it's literally not Matthew. And I think that is just like, I feel like he trailblazed the fact of like being so authentic and so open, like, hey, this is a literal Matthew Hussey AI bot that you can drop like all of your AI questions to or all of your relationship questions to, and my AI bot is going to answer it. And it's like someone of his stature and someone who has such a big platform, he never ever had to do that. But I love that he was like, no, this is the real Matthew. and this is my bot. And I really loved that about him.
Yeah, I'm seeing that more and more actually. A lot of coaches online are creating their own AI bots, like naming it after themselves. And I think I mean, it's been very effective in terms of it's generated a lot of sales for people because it's a way that their customers can still have an access to their the way that they think, right?
Yeah.
Without the host actually having to divulge of their time. So this is something actually that I'm watching with some curiosity to see how this goes because it now feels like everybody and their dog has their own bot. And
Yes.
so it's kind of like, okay, is this going to be a commodity now? Like I've seen people sell these for $500 a month. I've seen people sell these for $300 a month, a one-time fee of $1,000. It's kind of like, will this still be worth $1,000 4 months from now when everyone has their own AI bot? Like I actually think the value isn't going to be in information anymore because it will be so freely available. What people are going to want to buy is the curation and like the process. Great. You have all this information available to you. That's not helpful if you don't know which part of it to use in which order, right? Like there's 101 ways you can market your business. You only need one that works. How do you know which is the right one for you? That's where people are going to get stuck. And they're going to need to really be able to sift through and discern what do I buy right now? Who do I invest in at this moment? What's the next step in my business for the obstacle or bottleneck I have today instead of like the one that I foresee coming? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like the ability to focus is going to become so much more valuable and needed, I think, in business.
Yeah, I think so too. I want to flip this conversation really quick because I think when people hear CFO, CMO, you know, all of these C things, right? The chief executive positions, they think they have to be at a certain position in their business to bring them on. And maybe they do, but when does someone need or when should they start to think about bringing in a CMO in their business? Is it their business is scaling to a certain position? Is it their income is at a certain level? Is it their like when does someone need a CMO?
That's a great question. I would say, while you have to have some like income level there to be able to hire a leader, it's less about
They're like,
income.
we're not cheap.
Yeah. Well, and it's also like you have to have other ducks in a row first, right?
Yeah.
Like you could hire a CMO to come in and just advise you. So as a one-man show, you're like, look, I don't know what to do next. I need someone who is a master at strategy and marketing. That's not my area of expertise. I am a fitness brand. Like I know fitness, not marketing. So that might be an opportunity for you to hire a chief marketing officer to come in and build you a marketing plan, right? They build it, deliver it, and then it's on you to execute.
Yeah.
But what I think is more common is CMOs also bring leadership to the table. So if you have a small team that can help you with social media or video editing, or you have people that are kind of there, but you're the CEO still doing all the day-to-day of your own marketing and managing it, and you're building out your own launches and creating your own campaigns, and you're still posting everything manually to Instagram by yourself. It's like, that's a bottleneck for you because you're now not able to get on stages and speak at those amazing, connection opportunities. You're not doing podcast interviews. You're not building out your next product or refining the offer you already have. And so that's where you bring in a CMO to take over the management of your marketing, put together the plan and lead your team for you so that you can stay in your zone of genius of building out the next offer, hosting the retreat, speaking on the stages, which is really what most CEOs want to be doing.
Yeah. So we had a CMO in our business for about 6 months, and she was lovely. She was fantastic at what she did. But one of the things that we found, and maybe this is even a question that you can answer, was we don't always need the plan. We need the integrator and the executor.
Yep.
Is that a different position in the company?
Yes. And I think that would be like the core difference, right? A CMO is somebody that manages or leads the team. They're not the executor, which also comes back to like, when are we ready? And it's kind of like, well, the best time for you to hire someone is when you already have a team in place that can do the execution for you, but maybe they're more junior, they're less experienced. Your maybe marketing isn't the biggest strength, or maybe it is, but you're like, I'm in the weeds of marketing every day. I'm the only one on the team that can come up with a marketing plan, and it's draining me and keeping me from doing these other things that's moving the team forward, like launching the signature program and filming those videos, right? That's something no one can do but you. And so I would say that's where you bring on the CMO is like, hey, let's create the plan, but they're not there to execute it. They're there for the high level strategy to help you stay on target, measure your KPIs, lead the team. If you don't have a team yet, you might be a little too early for that CMO position.
Yeah, that's really helpful. I mean, again, we have we're running a monster business over here, but we run a very lean team, right?
Yeah.
I just did a reel on this recently. It's like I like to keep a lot of profit in the bank. So that was one of the biggest things that we ran up against was we had a really great CMO, but we didn't have a ton of integrators or a ton of executors on the team. So it was like while she had all these really great ideas and visions, it's like we didn't have the support staff underneath to kind of like hold those up. So I think that is a really good conversation when you are growing and scaling, past the 7-figure mark is like making sure that you do have the right people on the bus. And that's kind of what happened with us. It was like, hey, we had all these people on the bus, but they weren't necessarily the right people on the bus to support her actions and what she was doing in the company.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good insight for you, right? Looking
Yeah.
in the team, it's like, okay, this is really great. You have all these marketing ideas, but again, if you can't execute it, then it's not going, you can't get an ROI on an idea. It has to be implemented, right? So for the right people that have a small team, but they're like, hey, we need to get more strategic. We need to do less better. Let's look at let's bring somebody in to do an audit. Like, what are we doing well? What are the gaps? And what is really moving the needle? Like, if we're on, TikTok and Instagram and LinkedIn and YouTube, like, do we need to be on all those places?
Yeah.
Or are there two main channels that's driving the majority of our revenue that we could just do better on and double down so that we could streamline and simplify things? You might bring a CMO in just simply to do an audit like that or to build out a marketing strategy. And then they pass that over to you from there, give you kind of a list of things, and then you can be on your way. If your
Yeah.
team is bigger and you have a team, then you might bring a CMO on as a retainer to make sure that they're managing that day to day. And you can be in your zone of genius of like building out the next product, hosting the next retreat, getting on that stage, right?
Yeah.
Most visionaries shouldn't be in the weeds or shouldn't be the ones planning their launches.
Yeah.
But they end up in that seat because, when we get started, we wear all the hats. And so it's just
Yeah.
about the timing of being able to delegate and get things off your plate and then building leaders within your company so that you aren't having to lead everyone and be the manager, right? Because at some point when you have a team, then you just become the manager, not the visionary.
Yeah. It's so good. Ashley, where can people find you? What do you have going on right now? If someone's interested in your CMO services or doing an audit with you, where can they find you?
Yeah, great. Anybody, you're welcome. Come say hello over on Instagram. I am Ashley Brasseaux, Brasso for my last name. And let me know that you heard me through Jillian's podcast. Would love to chat with you, learn more about what you've got going on, and happy to connect.
Yeah, you guys, we will put all of her information in the show notes. You guys know there's nobody on the podcast that I don't bring on that I don't like massively edify. Like if you're looking for a CMO or someone in marketing, like she's absolutely your girl. And this is the last question that I actually ask everybody on the podcast is what makes you buy from somebody online?
Wow, that is such a good question. Honestly, I think a lot of it is reflective or mirroring values.
Mm.
So, yes, they have to have a solution or something that I'm looking for, but they also have to be living a life that's in congruency with the life that I want to live. Alex Hermosi, I think, is a really great entrepreneur, but Alex works 7 days a week, 14 hours a day. And I'm sitting here like, tell me you don't have kids without telling me you don't have kids, right?
Correct.
I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, that's great for Alex, but he's in a very different stage of life as me.
Yep.
So, like, I'm not really that pulled by his content because it's just not the lifestyle and the season that I'm in. So, I would say, as you're looking for the people that you want to work with, make sure that they hold the same values, they have a life that you aspire to have, and that, you could see yourself reflected in the way that they do business, because ultimately we're influenced by the content that we consume, and you don't want to be influenced by people that don't have aligned values as you, right? You're going to start to come off inauthentic and not be true to where you really want to go. So I would say the values of the person that I'm following and ultimately
Yeah.
what they're creating.
That is such a great answer because I think that really brings back a conversation that I have a lot on the podcast, and it's very similar to me, right? Like I'm an empty nester. My daughter's getting married in a couple of weeks, and it's like I could, not that I do, but I could sit at my computer 7 days a week, 14 hours a day. So as someone who is a new mom of a bunch of littles, right, and has a husband or a partner, and family is first and foremost. And if I'm telling them to do things a certain way, it's like that might not align with what they're looking for. So I think that is a really great reminder of like, look at what their lifestyle looks like, looks at what they're doing, and even how they're running their business and how much time they're actually putting into it.
No, for sure. Because not only are they not going to resonate with you, but they're not going to be able to execute. So if you tell someone, hey, you need to be working at your desk 10 hours a day, and they're like, look, I've got 4 hours.
Yeah, 4 hours.
Yeah, they're going to feel frustrated because they'll never get the results because they can't execute this in the same way, in the same model. So when I look at like, what am I buying? Who am I buying from? I look at, well, what kind of results have they had, or what kind of what results have their clients had? And what is their definition of success? And how are they going out achieving that? And does that resonate with me?
Yeah, I love that. Ashley, thank you so much for being on the show. I feel like we literally just became friends, and I'm very excited to continue this friendship and this relationship, and really grateful to have you on the show today.
Thanks so much, Jillian. I can't wait to continue the conversation on
Of course.
Thank you so much for tuning into the Scale Your Sales podcast. If today's episode has you fired up, would you do me a huge favor and leave a review over on Apple or Spotify podcast? Or, of course, you can always take a screenshot and share it on your social media. That is the way we grow this show, and so that other people can absolutely learn how to grow their sales as well. I am on a mission to change the mindset of sales. I want people to freaking love sales, because the reality is sales is the foundation of everything you do. It's how your business generates revenue consistently. So remember, keep showing up and being unapologetic about selling, because once you fall in love with selling, the sky is absolutely the limit. Until next time, happy selling, and my DMs are always open. I can't wait to get to know you better.